All right, so let's talk about Barbieheimer. Before we get into it, make sure you support the WGA, make sure you support SAG. Without them, we wouldn't be here or talking about any of this, and I think it's really important that we truly show solidarity towards them. But let's talk about Barbieheimer and how did we get here. So if you don't know, this weekend is going to be a pretty packed weekend when it comes to the theaters, as we are going to be having Barbie opening up, as well as Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan's latest film, Oppenheimer, and Greta Gerwig's latest film, Barbie, which are very much two gargantuans going at it at the box office. And on top of that, you add Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, which is sort of looking to pick up some steam after some word of mouth. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty good box office this weekend and a great time for movies in general. By the way, Cobweb comes out this weekend as well. I'm scared for that one. It's a little one, but hopefully it picks up some legs as well. Now let's talk about how do we get here to where people are fighting each other about what movie they're going to watch. Some people are saying they're going to watch both, and it's just ultimately going to be good for the theaters in general, I think. So we got to go back to 2020 when we saw Tenet be released by Warner Brothers exclusively in theaters. As you know, during that time, it was a time when the theaters were very much just skipping a lot of seats, and not a lot of people were really going out because of everything going on. I went to go see Tenet in theaters, and let me tell you, it was just like 10 of us, and that's just because how much separation there was at the time as well. So I think it was like 3 or 4 seats that would be skipped, and then like that's how it would be. So yeah, it was a pretty empty theater when I went to go see it. And side note, that theater's not there no more, so very sad about that as well. But then we heard Christopher Nolan come out to talk about Warner Brothers when they said they were moving all of their movies from theatrical only to streaming now. So same day streaming, same day theatrical. That's what they were going to do, Warner Brothers said. And so Christopher Nolan was quoted as saying this on The Hollywood Reporter back then. Some of our industry's biggest filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before thinking they were working for the greatest movie studio and woke up to find they were working for the worst streaming service. So that was Nolan back in 2020 in December for The Hollywood Reporter, after Warner Brothers decided to do this move where we saw movies like Dune, The Suicide Squad, and whatnot go to a same day theatrical and streaming release, which I feel kind of did hinder those movies a lot when it came to the box office. So we fast forward to 2021 when they report that Christopher Nolan's next film will be Oppenheimer and will be with Universal, which was a big landmark thing, as we had seen Christopher Nolan work with Warner Brothers for so long and was now moving to another studio. Then we hear about the Barbie movie, which Warner Brothers did have in the making for some time now, from Greta Gerwig, was going to be releasing the same day as Oppenheimer. And so many people started to do this whole thing where they saw it as Warner Brothers sort of pushing Nolan as well, and maybe not really liking the decision for Nolan to move on to Universal to make his next film. And so it started this whole pit against both of them. Over time, however, I think we started to see this whole thing as a big event rather than a big fight. And people were starting to wonder, hey, how can I make the best double feature? Do I see Barbie first? Do I see Oppenheimer first? How do we do all of this to make it right? Now, after some time now, it seems that maybe Nolan and also Greta Gerwig have sort of come to this whole thing that this is just a good thing for movies in general, and both have come out with statements that if it gets people out there watching the movies, going to the theater, enjoying the shows and all of that, then this is just a good thing that's come out of this. We've seen the memes, we've seen the online people on Twitter, TikTok, everywhere, just making this such a grandiose event, and probably the biggest event of the year when it comes to films, I feel. So it definitely is a win-win for everybody at the end of the day. But I thought that this whole thing is definitely an interesting thing to see, is in lieu of what everybody may think about how this started, if it was petty, if it was not from Warner Brothers or all of that, it might just be the greatest marketing for these movies, which had a very much so ramped up box office now from the beginning earlier on in the year of how much they were going to make to now, as even AMC has reported a lot of their core customers that are coming to see these movies have already booked double features. At a point it was 20,000, now it's almost 40,000, I believe, that they're saying are going to be doing these double features. So I think that Oppenheimer was sort of predicted to be in the 35 to 40 million range and is now pushing over the $50 million range. And Barbie was at the 80s and now is over 100 million at the box office for opening weekend. Both of these movies are over $100 million in a budget. So I believe that we will definitely see them get their return, and then some for sure. So overall, Barbieheimer might just be the best thing to happen to both of these movies. And over at Warner Brothers, they've even stated that they would love to have Christopher Nolan come back after Oppenheimer at some point. And Christopher Nolan hasn't really said what's going to happen next or if he's working on any movies right now. He currently is saying he is standing strong with SAG and WGA, so we might just have to wait until all of these things get resolved before we hear what Nolan's next move is. But I doubt that Universal will want to let go of Nolan, so it's going to be an interesting thing to see what his next decision will be. And from what I'm hearing, Oppenheimer just sounds like a movie for like the ages, apparently, according to a lot of people who have seen this movie already, and Barbie the same way. So it's definitely going to be a win for us all when it comes to the box office and when it comes to movies, and we will definitely be checking those movies out. We will be watching Oppenheimer tonight, and then we will catch Barbie after. It was just a shame that both of these movies were having screenings for critics and all of that on the same day, so you really had to choose, especially in my area, you had to choose which one you're going to go see. I was going to see Oppenheimer because it was in IMAX, and, you know, gotta save some money. So we're going to go see that in IMAX tonight, and then we'll watch Barbie after when it releases as well. So I'll definitely be talking about both of the movies. We'll be having a reaction from Oppenheimer today as well after the movie. It's 3 hours long, so it might be a late night reaction you're going to get from me. But I'm excited. I'm excited to check out Oppenheimer. I'm excited to check out Barbie. It's just a win-win overall, and that's Barbieheimer right there for you. 2 movies that sort of came, whether you want to believe from pettiness being pitted together, or maybe it was just an honest mistake or coincidence, whatever you want to call it, but still it might have just given us the greatest weekend of the year for sure when it comes to film, as we are going to see 2 gargantuan studios with 2 very big directors, especially with a feverish online dedication to both of these directors, go at it and just make it good for the theater owners and everybody involved. I hope the theaters sell the concessions they need to and all of that and make some money, because theaters have been really hit these past couple of years, and I am happy to see them sort of get back on their feet and continue to push forward and letting everybody enjoy the movies for sure. So very excited. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you think. Which one are you seeing first, Barbie or Oppenheimer? And which one are you most excited for? Let me know in the comments down below. Like I said at the beginning, we are standing strong with SAG and WGA, so our channel will be pivoting to newer things as well. At the same time, we will not be taking any paid promotions from Struck Studios, and we will not be pushing or promoting movies from Struck Studios, just reviewing and just reporting the news from them, but not really pushing those Struck work out. So that's going to be changing, but we will be talking more anime, music, and video games as well on the channel, foreign indie films, all that good stuff. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for your support. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like, share, all that good stuff. I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.